Hi, I'm Saumya Gupta, and welcome to the Data Decoded podcast. In every episode, we feature trailblazers who are reshaping the data landscape, leaders from technology, industry veterans, compliance specialists, and the innovators working behind the scenes. Tune in to learn from the lessons of the past, act with clarity today so we can responsibly prepare the data of tomorrow. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another brand new episode of Data Decoded, where you speak your legacy. Today on our show, we have a very special guest, Karthik Ramachandran. Hi, Karthik.
Hi everyone. Hi Soumya.
Hi. Hello. So, Karthik is basically at heart a builder. He loves to do small carpenter work. So I'll just introduce you from this angle before I go to the data.
Okay.
And he's a DIY kind of a guy, which reflects in all of his work also. Professionally, he works for one of the largest banks of Australia and also has experience working on the defense domain. He delivers business solutions, data-driven solutions to the banks, and believes that we should not just be creating reports, we should be creating insights to drive businesses while they move forward in their transformation journey. So, Karthik, would you like to say anything else about yourself that we don't know?
I think you throw me off the hook when you say that I'm builder at heart. Like I'm like okay.
Okay,
But, but
that's
yeah,
a
in
good way
terms
to
of
put it.
yes. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. I didn't know that. Yeah, you'll be saying that or mentioning about that. But I thought it was a very casual chat. But yeah, in terms of IT thing, yes, definitely. Data is something that I'm very passionate about, and anything and everything with data. I'm pretty much tune my ears into and eyes into that and see what's really going on and what is actual problem we are trying to solve, what is the use case, etc. So I'm a very technical person and a detailed person, so I love doing that. But yeah, having cherished on the data side of things, no regrets so far. Hopefully the journey continues for a few more years.
So, how long have you been in the space, Karthik?
Into the data side of things, maybe I would say in the last 8 9 years.
Okay.
But before then, as you might have known, that I started my career as a Java developer.
Yep.
Then went into a few other
You
roles
started
here.
with software developer, rose up to this role. So, we share
Yeah.
that in common. So,
Yes.
I saw that. That's
Yeah.
great. And right now, you're joining us from Australia, right? Uh,
Yes. I'm based out of Sydney. Yep. Here working as a data consultant, predominantly working on a data side of gigs. Working out few, helping out few clients here and there, etc. But yeah, I think it's a peak summer here. It's very hot. So just trying to enjoy the summer ride in
okay.
Australia.
Okay. That's great. Well, when we discussed about, so we had a variety of topics that we could talk about, and when we shortened it down, we thought that customer data management could be one of very important and central problems of banks that Karthik is currently solving that we can discuss about today. So, Karthik, with respect to customer data management, customer 360 setup slash customer data hub, these are same names of the different names of the same problem. How is it that you have implemented so far, and how do you think organizations must be going about it? Are there some do's or don'ts that you want to talk about? Just break it down for us.
Yeah, sure, definitely. I'm happy to go into the details. See, in banking, right, like customer data is at the core of everything. So, be it regulatory compliance, be it risk assessment, fraud prevention, and most importantly, in terms of delivering a seamless customer experience, customer data is the king. It's a key. Banks often struggle with fragmented customer records, especially in our Asia Pacific and Australian regions, because they have got multiple origination systems, be
Yep.
it any core banking systems, be it any CRM systems, be it any loan processing systems specifically, etc. They have got multiple channels of originating or onboarding a customer into their database, and which kind of leads into a lot of inconsistencies, inefficiencies, and most importantly, the compliance risks. So
Yep.
that's where I think customer MDM kind of gets into the big attention.
Yep.
So I will tell you a brief overview of what is the problem that we faced and the challenges that we faced and how we've overcome that with proper solution. So in one of the banks that I was working, I think one of the main reason, one of the main problem that we faced is the data silos and inconsistencies. because as you can see that there are multiple systems, and multiple systems has multiple validations in terms of KYC, AML, GPDR, required validations, etc., which was not properly collected for the same customer, and it was giving or ending up in a duplicated or mismatched records. And what this does is that eventually, it for the customer, it gives lot of experience issues, because in one end they are getting some marketing emails where they would love to see those upcoming futures offers from the bank. But in one end, though they have opted in for marketing, but because of the system inconsistencies, they are not able to get the seamless interaction with the banks, or be it the product that they have offered for.
Yep.
So it was giving inconsistency among the customers, and on the other end, bank is losing lot of revenue generation avenues, because it's the same customer, but they are giving two different set of products and offers for two different set of systems. And bank is not able to give or see a 360-degree view of a customer, due to which they are not able to give the best offers, or they are not able to provide the best pricing details, etc., to the customers. So this kind of was a two-way problem for both the customers as well as the bank. And if you look at the actual underlying problems or challenges that we face, one is the data quality and the data governance. There is a lot of inconsistent data entry. In some systems, you will see address line 1 to 3 is mandatory, whereas in some systems, you will see just the address line 1 is mandatory, whereas the rest of the other key details about the customer information and the address information will be entered as part of 2 and 3. So it's like a lot of inconsistency data entry. And the other thing
Yep.
is like missing information, outdated records. Some systems doesn't just purge the data after 2 years, because that's how the systems are set up. So it's like kind of leading to a lot of data governance issues as well. And when we started thinking about this customer MDM solution, the first thing we had to make sure is the centralized MDM platform. So when we wanted to implement this particular single source of truth, we have to make sure that the customer data is kind of cleansed first, and we have to come up with a proper standardization approach. So whatever is the compliance requirement, whatever is the uh, requirement from a banking perspective or an enterprise perspective, we need to come up with a standardized process and start doing the data cleansing. And second thing
So,
is
so
like,
how does the standardization happen? Like, who comes up with those standardized protocols? Is the bank that comes up with it, or do you do standardization from the data processor or data the people, the sources from where you're getting the data out? Do you try to impose standardization that no, I want all the address lines to be mandatory or something like that? I mean, at
um,
what levels does the standardization go through? Because eventually, if you when you come to the last layer, you should have one format so that
yeah,
analytics can happen on
exactly.
the entire data.
That's where we were aiming for. Yeah, I think it's a very interesting question, right? Because if you see at that from that perspective, the standardization is something, as I said, like it's a compliance requirement. So it
Right.
comes from our regulators. So in Australia, we have got two major regulators. One is ASIC and the other one is APRA, so to whom we had to report all the customer related information at various levels. And we have got a lot of APS standards as well. So again, this is part of APRA regulator, to whom we need to generate lots and lots of reports on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, on a yearly basis, etc.
Right.
And they are the one who come up with the required standards, and they come up with the guidelines in terms of establishing this standard. It's not only for one bank, it's across the entire banking industry. So for the
Right.
entire banking and financial industry, they propose the guidelines in terms of what is the actual standard required. Again,
Right.
when it comes to the actual implementation phase, banks needs to make sure that they are compliant with it, and but also make sure that it is robust and it is scalable for the future as well. It's
Right.
not that okay, you just follow the guidelines blindly. You need to make sure that why the guidelines is established, what is the purpose it solves, and you need to take the next step accordingly. The solution
Right.
has to be comprehensive enough of making sure that it is meeting the compliance standard, and at the same time it is serving the purpose for the bank. So that's how always I approach the problems. And that's why I'm saying that the standardization is something coming from the regulators, but at the same time we do have internal systems, SMEs, architects, data architects, enterprise architects, etc., to whom we will just go and propose the data model, saying that this is what the standard says, this is a guideline, this is the data model that we have proposed, and this is what the validation we are going to implement within the individual systems.
Right, right. Can you give example of any such models that you have proposed? Any example? Is it for customer model, or it's for maybe transaction model? Are there different models set up for different entities?
Yeah, I think
And do you like define it on the metadata level, or do you keep it?
yes, it's always different at the metadata level, no doubts about that. But again, the bank has got a lot of business units, within the same organization. If you're talking about a customer from an investment banking perspective, the model is a bit different in the sense like it will say that okay, the customer's name, first name, last name, date of birth has to be unique. But if it comes to the actual transaction related data, the model might suggest something different because it's a little bit different, or it needs to be tweaked based on the different regulatory standards. And when it
Right,
comes to the actual loan processing perspective, it we might have to apply certain layers of tweaking as well again. So it again depends on what business unit we are tying to. But at the end of the day, the key attributes that defines a customer will be defined based on the SME's suggestions, as well as architect suggestion, and also at the same time going through the internal data as well. So we make sure that customer X is identified using these unique attributes. And when these unique attributes come into play, we try to go and wash it against the entire systems through which they are
right.
getting onboarded, etc. And then try to establish that as a standard.
Right. So I remember when we were doing this for one of our clients, one other
Mhm.
big challenge that had come up during the data collection and integration phase, they were doing a vanilla customer 360 implementation. It was about managing historical data. It was about understanding that there are some customers. So when we are doing it up for the first time, we will have customers who have closed their accounts also inside our main system. We will have customers who have ongoing accounts. We will have customers who have raised some issues, so as in the litigation and hold customers, where they say that there is an issue, you have to make sure that this particular customer's record has to stay in the system in
Yeah,
the time of your purging, etc. You cannot really remove that. So
yeah,
there was once that we had seen that, and not once actually, for almost all vanilla setups. And then there becomes this question of, when we are doing the implementation for the first time, we have to identify which customers have complete business records in the
yes.
source, and which of them are active business records.
Yes.
So do you also do this kind of a bifurcation before you do that
Yes,
implementation?
yes, definitely. Once we identify the customer data specific to the systems and the onboarded, application platform, etc., we need to make sure that yes, we need to wash it against a number of business logics. One is like, whether is the customer active, and is the
Mm,
customer really having a product attached with them, or is it
mhm.
just the customer has been onboarded but no active products associated with them? So we need to go through n number of business logics and make sure that, and we need to tag them accordingly. And
Right,
as
right,
as continuation of my previous answers with respect to the problems that we face, one of the biggest challenge that I was talking with you, even in our previous conversation, is about the data governance. I think once we have established the standardization, now the biggest problem is like how we can make sure this standard is going to be followed for the
right,
next few years, or also making sure that it is not disturbing the regulatory space. So in
right,
order to do that, I think data governance has to be followed. So I can't insist enough to my peers as well as to the people who are listening here. Data governance is very key in any organization.
right,
So be it technical lineage, be it business lineage, it has to be documented, and the standard needs to be adhered to. And the data stewards, as part of the data governance, has to make sure that they are following it to the the line, making sure that this is has been adhered, and this is followed methodically as well as religiously within the organization. It has to be part of their DNA within the data
of
team.
course. Yeah, data, DNA, metadata. So that is the thing. With respect to governance, when we just touch the topic of governance, governance is like 50 things in itself. It's
Yeah,
not only lineage, it's not only quality, it's also
exactly.
security, it's also
It's
data
also
preservation,
it's
it's
all
also
about
life
anti-logging
cycle.
as well. Yes.
cataloging, life cycle, that how long do you want that data to be there, and just making sure that once, so governance has to make sure that once the data actually achieves whatever we want to achieve has been achieved with the data, right after that it should become self-sustaining.
Exactly.
Like it should go in
100%.
a self-service mode, and if that data needs to be, acting in a certain way, needs to preserve its life cycle, needs to act like based on its life cycle, it should just happen.
Yeah,
So I mean, with respect to customer, with respect to any other data, I mean, it's important that
I agree
we
with you.
set it up in that way. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, and just it kind of leads us to the next topic, right? I think when you're touching upon the customer, being, the self, it should be in a self-sustained mode. I think one of the key item that I would like to share with you is about the data retention policies as well as the data storage policies as well. I think
Yep.
across the entire banking industry within Australia, we have got the data being segregated into three key items. One is system records, one is transaction record, one is the other type of records. So we just have to come up or adhere to the policies as proposed by the the ASTRAC, APRA, as well as uh, you know um, regular other regulators in terms of how long the particular record should be maintained for. If it's a
Yeah.
system record, it should be maintained for a minimum of 10 years. If it's a transaction record, it should be maintained for a record of 7 years, etc. So I'm just saying the numbers, but I'm just saying that this has already been proposed, and this is something that every bank has to be compliant with. And as part of the data governance, as well as part of the non-functional requirements, be it anyone who is coming up with, they have to make sure that these policies are adhered to as well. So once we are done with the problem, and the solution that has been implemented, the other things comes into play. Which among them is the data governance, and the next one is the data retention and the storage policies.
Right. 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 It all comes from a compliance and regulatory angle,
Absolutely, yeah.
but yeah, it's not only about law, it's also about making sure that the system is sustainable in the long term. So it's not
Yes,
just a formality, it
yes,
is
exactly right.
helps
And
bring sanity.
this is not that once, it's not so once off solution as well. You just do the MDM solution, okay, we are done, happy days, we can move on. No, it has to be a continuous process as well. You have to see
Yeah.
like how this particular process evolves and how this can be carried over by the BAU team, etc., and how this process will make sure that the future scalable process is not impacted, etc. So all of these things comes into play.
Yeah. And how are you dealing with live, like normally how do you deal with live data when a customer MDM has been set up? What are the, like ingesting the live data, what are the parameters that you would like to compare it with before you actually include it into your golden record?
Yeah, so as I was touching upon that topic, like in order for us to identify a customer is unique, we need to first come up with a number of unique attributes. So once, as long as they match those unique attributes, either using the underlying technology, be it API or be it using any of the MDM solution that has been proposed, we try to make sure that the customer ID is generated and the unique record has been set up, and then we try to store it in the backend data. And once
Right.
that is done, I think that particular customer record or the customer golden master ID, we got as customer gold key, etc., which will be cascaded to all the subsequent downstreams. So even the subsequent downstreams can have their own application or setup to onboard the system, but attached to each and every customer will be this golden key of the customer. So that will be acting as a reference for us, so that we ensure that whenever we are trying to contact the customer or offer the customer anything, or approach the customer for anything, this golden key will serve as a key attribute for us to make sure that we are talking with the same customer. And when it comes to the actual backend system of the bank, to see like who the customer is what's the portfolio is, what's the net worth is, etc., we will be retrieving the customer details using this golden key.
Right. And as a part of this master data of customer, do you also put aggregated fields as the master data of customer? For example, calculated fields, maybe percentage probability of the customer interested in buying or something like that. Do you also capture that calculated field as a part of golden metadata of the customer?
Yes, again, definitely. depends on the nature of the business the customer is doing with. If they are doing a transactional nature of business, yes, definitely we do that. And if the same case applies for investment banking related products, but it may not be the same case for other products, be it commercial lending or something like that, because that's a unique product by itself. And let's say like if you're dealing with a crypto customer, they may not be interested in certain things, and they may not don't want to disclose certain things as well. So we refrain
Okay.
ourselves from capturing certain details
Oh,
depending on the
so
nature of the product.
you're saying that customer data management in general, customer metadata fields differ from different types of customers. For an investment banking customer, the fields would be different. For uh, crypto customer, the fields would be different. For lending customer, the fields would be
Basic
different.
attributes will be the same, but once the basic attributes, for example, when I'm talking about basic attributes, I'm talking about name, date of birth,
Right.
any ID proofs or address, etc. So those are going to stay the same.
Mm-hmm.
Once the basic attributes are captured, I'm going to the next set of topics. For example, what products they are interested in, what is the source of income. So it depends. Certain products might not need customers to disclose certain things, but
Right.
certain products needs customers to disclose everything, because all of this data has to be shared with the regulator. They want to
Right.
know who the customer is, because as part of their KYC and AML compliance, we need to disclose that. But certain products may not require. Certain products may not require even the marketing or offers their customers are interested to obtain, etc. Certain products needs their consent to do that,
Mhm.
etc. So it depends.
Right. Right. Okay. Yeah.
So
So
that's where I'm
also
saying the
talking.
aggregator columns might play a role, may not play a role, depending on the nature of the product.
Why I went to aggregated columns is by when you said that the data that is captured in during the MDM process is circulated further into downstream. So I was thinking that if we have an aggregated field that sometimes gets calculated as a and gets added approved as a master data, and if we are going downstream, and downstream also has, like, it's using the initial field, but based on a new input that has come up, that aggregated field has changed to a different value. So does it get supplied again into the downstream, because the analytics will differ based on that?
Yes, of course, definitely. I agree with you. Again, it depends on how the organization wants to implement certain data. Because when I was working for Bank X, they were implementing this way. But when we were proposing the same solution to Bank Y, they don't want to implement that logic or solution, because they wanted to make sure that they want to have three in a box banking model. So they are not that keen on getting that solution implemented. So they wanted to have a unique customized solution, so that they can put three in a box model. So again, it
What
depends
is a
on
three in a box model? Sorry.
again, it's a term. So when we're talking about two in a box, three in a box, a bank is not only a bank to the customer.
Okay.
Sometimes it acts as a partner. Sometimes it acts as a assistant. Sometimes it acts as
Okay.
you know how to say, like a lender. So it's kind of depends on what the customer is looking for. If it's a business customer, you don't have to just see bank as a just a transaction nature or a savings specific uh, organization or entity. If you're talking about business, let's say, like we do have the expertise, we do have the business lender who can talk with you about the products, the offers available, so you can make use of them. It's free of cost. So that's why we meant by two in a box. If you're a business customer, we would like to also make sure that we do have certain number of other related entities wherein we can do a match and say that, okay, this person is offering this service as well, so as part of this organization being a customer, you can avail the service. And similarly, three in a box means, like, okay, if you are a business customer as well as a transaction savings customer, or if you are doing something else as well, so we try to offer different set of services and put everything together in the same box, and we can sell all the products to three different entities, or two different entities, and make sure that it's a win-win situation for every one of us. So here we
Mhm.
act as the banker, as well as same time we are acting as a consultant as well, saying that, okay, yes, this is something that we do have for as well. Again, it's free of cost, right? So we are not pushing the customer to opt for it. It's not that we are charging a customer on certain services based thing or offer based thing. So it's completely free of cost. It's completely up to you how you want to make use of that. You might have seen the cashbacks and other things, right? For example,
Right.
if
Right.
you are banking with certain banks, and if you are
Right.
opting for this specific card, they do offer cashbacks. So it's all about
Right.
that. So you get some business from the actual provider who is offering the cashback. At the same time,
Right.
you also sell the actual product or the your own banking related product to the actual customer as well. So it's like win-win situation for everyone.
Okay, okay. And that actually makes sense, right? Because the whole customer 360 model and the motivation behind having one customer
Exactly.
model, right? So that so
It is a
previously
very
also the
important role.
yep, yep.
The analytics that
Previous
you're talking about, right? And also you said like different set of analytics that we play that we take as part of the customer record, especially the golden key retrieval, etc. When we are cascading it to the downstream, one of the downstream could be the third parties as well. So
Mhm.
we have to make sure that we are sending the right data to them, because for them it's a good opportunity for them to sell the
Cross,
product to the actual
yeah.
customer.
The
Because
whole motivation behind this goes for cross selling. That can I cross sell or not?
cross-selling is
Yeah.
one of the benefit, but again it's all
Mhm.
about making sure that the customer is getting the problem solved.
Right. Okay.
Problem could be solved by selling one more additional product as well. At the same time, problem could be some solved by having additional consultation as well. So it's all about that.
So again, a consult for the consultant, the primary thing would be getting the problem solved. For a seller, it will be getting the product sold.
Exactly, exactly.
That's how it is. So eventually, so customer 360 solves for a lot of those things, especially because it is a capitalizing business. One thing one cell can be capitalized to something else, and it can be made bigger, and the engagement of that customer can keep getting more and more deeper with the particular bank provider. And that. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. So, is there any myth about customer 360 implementations that you would like to bust here?
Um, Maybe I would add two myths.
Okay.
First myth is like customer 360 is a single system. I think most of the my colleagues and most of my
Right.
peers
Of course.
and most of the industry people thinks that it's just a single system wherein you
They'll just
can
say
do
they'll put one
everything,
single system and all your problems will be
it
solved there.
just does the magic behind the scenes and pulls everything from here and there, like just pushes and shows it in the screen. It's not the case. It's always a combination of different systems and different databases. It's all about how uh, confidently the system can retrieve the data with clear clarity, without making sure that the customer data is not duplicated, and at the same time provides the proper visualization to the user who is actually looking at the customer 360 data. So if you're thinking that customer 360 is just one single table which consists of thousands of columns wherein you can retrieve and put all the details into that table, I think that's a myth.
I think the
It's definitely
biggest hero here is validation, right? So you put it very well that it's about clarity, about how and where to get the data from. And once you have set that clarity up, it's all about validation and the gatekeepers that have to keep the data in check that will again come and cloud in that established model, right? So I
exactly.
think validation is one unsung hero here.
Yep.
Okay. What is
And
the second
second,
one?
yeah, exactly. People think that they can do certain things just by implementing the solution on day one. Theoretically, it works well, but I think one myth I would like to debunk is that start with small POCs. Without POC, sometimes most of you know projects fail in the midterm. So if you want 100% sure that yes, this is going to be the case, you just have to simulate certain scenarios and try to do the POCs based out of that. So that makes everyone's life easier. So it kind of helps you establish the proper conceptual data model, and as well as making sure that your physical data model is also not going to fail as well. So
Yep.
most of the times it's like LDM CDM works perfectly fine, but when it comes to the actual PDM, the struggle starts, and that's where most of the projects are stuck based on my own observation. But again, in order to avoid that, I would say like strongly advise that POC is the best way. And
Yep.
if the myth is that if LDM and CDM works, PDM will work. I
Can you
think
just
that's a myth.
explain LDM, CDM, and PDM for all of us?
Oh, sorry. Logical data model, making sure that how each and every entity is related with different other entities within the same
Okay.
data
And then
database.
physical and customer, right?
Conceptual data model. Conceptual data
Conceptual.
model is like how it will be represented in the
Okay.
actual living world, and physical data model is the actual application which is going to make use of that. because as I was mentioning, like, there are 10 or 12 different systems which actually onboards the customer into the, database. So how, when they're trying to implement this particular conceptual data model, we need to expand the conceptual data model into something called as physical data model, so that it can be implemented
Okay.
within that application. It can be either via API, it can be either via, database calls or something like that. So
Streaming
it's
or
all about
something.
that.
Yep. Okay. Okay, Karthik. So it's that's great. I think we will be able to walk away with a strategic approach to take forward any customer 360 kind of a vanilla transformation that we want to do.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. Again, my another piece of advice would be to make sure that you focus on the business values first. Understand how better the data management will improve the customer experience and the compliance process, rather than just simply jumping on the customer data management. Again, start small. POCs will help. Make sure that you establish a robust data governance, and making sure that the standardization process is automated as much as possible, so that it makes your everyone's life easier. So those are the key summary points that I can think of with respect to MDM.
Perfect. That says the builder in you. Bring all the pieces, set up the
Exactly.
governance, set up the
Yes.
pipelines, the screws, and everything, and then get started. And start with a small chair before you build a whole sofa.
Yes. That's what I always does. I had to make sure that my POC works first to my wife, because she thinks that maybe it might not work. You're wasting your time. Let's get in an expert. He or she might do the job while you are straining yourself. But that kind of gives me a peace of mind, and it's a relaxation routine for me. So I had to make sure that I do a small POC and show it to the family that it is working. If this works, the big work has to work. So
So, what is your most successful project in terms of building things that you have done here at
ah,
home?
I have done quite a few, but the most successful one and the most
The
challenging
one that you're
one would
most
be,
proud of? Yeah.
okay. I think building the retaining wall at my backyard for the garden bed. That was the
Okay.
most complicated, complex, as well as the most happiest or proud moment for me. It was not
Satisfying.
that
Okay.
easy, because it took 2 to 3 weeks and 3 weekends, to be honest. And I started with small, and eventually I was in the verge of giving up, because I thought like maybe I did something wrong at the beginning, and I wanted to start, pulling in the actual landscaper and all. But then I thought somehow, okay, let's give it one more try and fix few things and then finish it. So it was good.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, Karthik, we are at the top of our hour.
Mhm.
I think we had a great discussion. We have everything that we want to know today about Customer 360.
Okay,
What are you
thank
going
you.
to do next for the day?
For the day, I think I still have a few more hours left, so I might have to go and sit with my son to see, like, maybe take him to a park or something first thing, and get
Okay.
ready for tomorrow. So tomorrow we are having a big discussion on AI implementation within our organization. So
Okay.
maybe get ready for that.
Yeah, we have to plan more sessions on your defense related LLM use cases.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
looking forward
definitely.
to.
Would love to. Yeah.
Yeah. All
Yep.
right. Thank you, everyone, joining from different parts of the world. Have a very good day. See you again in the next episode. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Soumya. Thanks for your time. See you
Bye.
guys shortly.